Good morning, class. I am going to share the screen for you. So, in the previous class, we are discussing regarding the numbers. Okay, in that we have integer numbers and real numbers, and also we have seen the strings. But we will discuss something more regarding the numbers. Okay, in today's class. So, strings are just simple, right? String is nothing but a sequence of characters enclosed within the double quotes. That is nothing but a string. We can write whatever we want in the double quotes. Okay, but we can't nest the strings. We can't nest the strings. Okay, so you can see now we have a table for this numbers. So we have seen what all these things is, but we will see in detail regarding the numbers, how it is represented, how a single number can be represented in different forms. We can see here in the table. You see here. So here we, in the left hand side, we are representing some numbers and we are giving some remarks to those numbers. Okay. See here. In the previous discussion also we had this. I can represent simply as 33. Okay. What it means is it is a decimal number. Okay. If I don't mention of what type it is nothing but a decimal number. Here we have to remember one thing. Verilog is a case sensitive language. Okay, well and good. That means the capital A is different and small a is different in the case of identifiers. But here it has an exception regarding the numbers. Okay, we have some exception for the numbering. Okay, here we can indicate a decimal number with small d or capital D. Its indication, and also the small x and capital X are same here, which is used here for indicating uninitialized values or unknown values. Z indicates the high impedance state, right? We already know that. Okay, so here the number 33 or else the number like this we can indicate like this, tick mark D33. It indicates the decimal number. If I don't indicate anything, it is a treated as decimal number. Generally, we are using the decimal numbers only in our day-to-day life. That's the reason why they have given exception to that. Okay. So, if I don't mention here in before the D, if I don't mention the number of bits, it is automatically taking 32 number of bits. It is going to take 32 bits width. Okay. So see here, this both indication represents the same thing, 32 bits. For indicating 3, here it is some grammatical mistake, here it is, right? For indicating 3, we write 0010. Here also 0010. 0 should be this side, right? Okay, rest all is padded as zeros. Okay, 32 bits means divided by 4, how many group you will be having? So 8 groups. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 7 and 8. In the 8 groups, each of 4 bit. Okay, but the last two groups we are writing the value of 3 and 3 actually. Here it also we had to write 33, it is right. Okay, I am writing 3 here and I am writing 3 here. Rest all cases we are writing zeros. So unnecessarily, you can see that unnecessarily we are wasting so much amount of bits. We are wasting so many number of bits there. But what are the case may be, it will be considering 32 bits. Okay. Now instead of that we can write like this then. So I can write for writing all the three decimal numbers, we can represent with the help of 3 bits, right? Okay. You can see here we are using a 9 bits. All these represent a 3-digit decimal. It is a 3-digit decimal number, right? 439 is a 3-digit decimal number. And here you can see capital D and small d specify same decimal numbers. Underscores is ignored in between. You see here, my number is 439. I can straight away, and for you for writing this 439, I require 9 number of bits. That thing I am mentioning here. I'm mentioning here. I'm mentioning here 9 here. Okay, and it is of decimal format and 439. Instead of small d, I can write capital D also to show that I am writing this. But sometimes unfortunately we may be using underscore also. Here if you use underscore also, it is ignored. Okay, it is ignored there. Wherever you write when you write the numbers in between, if you have find underscore, it is just to ignore only. Okay, now you can see here the other form. So here we are representing 11011x01. Okay, in the binary format. So for indicating binary, we are using we can use capital B or small b, which is used to specify the binary number, and underscore is ignored, and unknown value x signifies the concerned bit to be unknown value. Okay, here you can see now. So totally we require 9 bits. They all are of type binary. You see here now. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. You get now. Totally we are having 9 bits. I am counting only the ones and x. I am not counting the underscores. That is just to ignore only. Okay. And we can use now this. The same thing. Here we are inserting with underscore. Here what we are removing here underscore and we are writing the same content here. And you can see here, instead of capital B, sorry, instead of small b, here we are writing capital B. All the three formats represents the same. First format is using underscore, second format underscore with the small b, underscore with capital B we can write. Okay, and small b without any underscore and capital B without any underscore. We can also write with capital B with underscore also, right? Everything is same. Okay, we are willing to represent a particular number only 11011x01. Okay, for that we require 9 bits. We are specifying here, we are specifying 9 bits, so we are writing 9 here. It is of format binary. Binary in the sense not only ones and zeros. The value of x and z can be used anywhere. Okay, we can see in the next slides logic values. In the logic values, we will be using 0, 1, and x and z's. Okay, in the previous discussion also we also had that, right? Okay, x and z's will be included in any case. Okay, here this is first one is the first thing we are seeing decimals. Next we have seen this here binary numbers. Now we'll see the octal numbers. Okay, so here in the first place you can see 9. That means it is using 9 bits. It's a 9-bit octal number. Here it is O, not 0. You see here, this is O. This is in the lower case and this is in the upper case. This is in the upper case and this is in the lower case. This is in the lower case. All are of 9-bit and all are of octal O, either in the small letter or in the capital letters. Here 1, 2, 3, same number. Here also 1, 2, 3, the same number. Here you can see, you see here now the binary equivalent on here. The binary equivalent for this 8-digit octal number is we are writing for 1, for 2, for 3, right? So here an octal number, this for this number the octal representation is this. For this number octal represent, for this number octal representation is this. Both are same, you can see. That means the both are same. You see here. To make it large, I have done this. It's showing here. To make it large for your visibility, I have done this. Okay, you can see now. So 9 O 1 2 3. This is the lowercase. Here 9 capital O 1 2 3. Both are same. So its binary equivalent is also same as this. Okay, now you can see it is of 9-bit and I am writing 1 and x and 3. That means so for each number 1 I require 3 bits. For 3 I require 3 bits. For z x also I require 3 bits. So I am writing 0 0 1 in the binary format and XXX and 0 1 1 equivalent to 3, right? Then see here, I'm once again mentioning it is of 9-bit octal and 1 to Z. Here this is indication of 1, this is indication of 2, this is the indication of Z. That means Z is taking 3 bits respectively, right? These are the indications of these 4 numbers in its equivalent binary number. Okay, Z signifies the concerned bit to be in the high impedance state. Okay, Z is used for indicating the particular bit in the high impedance state. Okay, we have some discussion on that also. High impedance state means if it is in the input side, if we have high impedance state in the input side, definitely there will be high impedance in the output side also. Okay. Okay, and we can go for indicating here an octal number without specifying the number of bits. Unspecified size, it is an octal number indication of unspecified size and octal value is 213. That means it is going to take around 32 number of bits to indicate this 213. Okay, 32 number of bits is required now. to indicate all this, as we have seen here like this. Okay, we have the length of bits here. So here you can see the hexa for hexadecimal numbers. You can see here. You can see here 8. What does 8 mean here? It is taking a 8-bit width. Okay, 8-bit width, and here the number is A5, which is an hexadecimal number. It's of 8 bits, and H, either small h or capital H, indicates it's an hexadecimal number. Okay, it is just simply indicating A5. That A5 is here, this one, or can indicate like this or this. And one thing we have to remember, that in the numbers, small case letter and the uppercase letter will be specifying the same. Okay, not only the representation of what format it is, whether it is here, you can see here what we are using here. So far we have used for indicating whether it is a decimal or a binary or octal. We are using either lowercase letter or uppercase letter for the specifying that its format, okay, which number it is. Now in the case of number also, I can use either small letter or the capital letter. Both are same. And you can also see here, sometimes I'm using here underscore. Okay, sometimes here I'm using underscore. Though I use underscore, or if I don't use underscore, everything is same. This underscore is neglected. Right. Next you can see it's a 11-bit hexadecimal number with indication of B and 0. You see here 11-bit number with an hexa assignment. Its value is just like this. It's 11-bit, right? So here we are breaking as 4-bit, 4-bit, and 3-bit. So the indication of B is represented here, and the indication of 0 is represented here. Okay. To represent B, we require 4 bits, right? 3 bits is not sufficient. Okay. The number of bits specified is more than that indicated in the value field. Okay. Enough zeros are padded to the left as shown. Okay. Here he is not mentioning us 0B0, but here we are writing 0. Just we know the concept of zero padding, right? To write these two, I require 8 number of bits. That's the thing what I have written here. On the left hand side, since it is having extra 3 bits, I am padding with 0, that particular 3 bits. Okay. Now you can see here it's of 9-bit and hexadecimal and ZA. To indicate A, I require 4 bits. Okay. Since it is, so you can see here, so it is totally of 9 bits, and here for indicating A, I require 4 bits, 1010. And how many bits are remaining? 5 bits are remaining then. 5 bits are remaining, but they are in the high impedance state. All the 5 bits will be in the high impedance state. Do you observe the difference here? Here we don't have Z, so I am writing zeros for the extra bits. But here Z is present here. For the extra bits, I have to pad with Z now. Do you get 1, 2, 3 plus 2, 5? For the 5, I have to write Z's only. Now you can see here 5. It is of 5-bit and hexadecimal, but I am writing ZA. For writing A, I require 4 bits. So that is 1010, and I have remaining only 1 bit. That bit only will be Z there. Okay. Instead of sometimes instead of Z, we can also write question mark there to indicate the high impedance. See here, it is indicated here 5H question mark A. It's a 5-bit hexa number. Its value is taken as Z. Z1010. Here I have not mentioned Z here. but I have mentioned question mark. Here you can see question is another representation of Z. This Z can be a small letter or also a capital letter. This X can also be a small one or also a capital one. Here we have exception regarding the case sensitivity when we are using for the numbers only. Okay. Rest all other cases we don't have exception. Okay. Now you can see here we are indicating the negative numbers. It's a 5-digit negative number which is of hexadecimal indication 1 and J. So it's a negative number. Negative numbers are represented in the 2's complement form. You know how to calculate that. Okay. And here it is of a negative number. Okay. Which is using 4 digits. Sorry, indicating 4 bits. And D7 it is actually. And how it is written, you can see there. Okay. You know how to write how to convert some decimal number, some negative number into a correct format. Right. Okay. So far we have seen the indications of different numbers. Either it is an integer number and a real number, and also in the indication of integer numbers we have different types of indications. Those things we have clearly seen there. Okay. Now we'll see the logic values. Okay. We already know that 1 signifies the value of 1 or high or true value, and 0 signifies the 0 or low or false values. Okay. And in addition to these two, we will also be using this cap X and Z. Either it is a small x or capital X or small z or capital Z, it doesn't matter here. Okay. Two additional levels are also possible, designated as X and Z. Okay. So in the VHDL, you recall once in VHDL, if I mention a particular input or output or else any signal as std underscore logic, I can take around 9 types of values. But in Verilog, we are having only this, just like 1, 0, X and Z. Okay, here X represents an unknown or an uninitialized value. For uninitialized value in the VHDL, we have used capital U. Okay, we have used capital U in the VHDL. But for both here we are using so here we are using only X for unknown and for an uninitialized value, and this corresponds to the don't care case in the logic circuits. And here X represents or signifies a high impedance state. We are using Z to either represent or signify a high impedance state only. Okay. Here we should know. Here we should know the strengths. We should know the strengths of the signals. Why? Because sometimes a single signal will be driven by two different values. For example, if I have a signal called P, if I say if I have in a wire, if I have a signal say some P, if it is connected to two signals, either A, that means A and B, the totally that wire with the signal P has to will be in confusion. That means it should have some clarity to which it has to give preference, right? So for example, see here we have a supply drive. This is the strength name. Strength name is supply drive. These are the strength names and its strength levels. Highest strength level is this one, which is having a 7. Okay, and how it is specified, you can see. Okay, supply SUPPLY 1 or SUPPLY 0. Okay, its abbreviation is generally SU1 and SU0. It is for power supply connections. Okay, for example, as I said, I have a signal P and that signal is connected to two two things. One may be a supply drive and another may be a strong drive. Okay, both doesn't have the same strength. You can see here. So one is having strength of 7 and another one is having the strength of 6. So it will be producing an output of 1 if it is connected to supply 1. Okay, if it is connected to supply 0, it is going to give an output of the P. The signal P is going to give an output of 0 since it is connected to supply 0. Do you get now what I am saying? Okay, for example, you can clearly understand like this. For one wire, for one wire, two more wires are connected to it, and say, for example, one wire, what I said first is of P. Okay, and I have connected two wires to it. One is wire A and another one is wire B. Okay, if wire A is connected to the supply drive, this A is of type supply drive. If it is giving a supply of 1, the value of P is going to produce a value of 1 as output. Okay, if I am giving a supply of 0 through A to P, it is going to produce an output of 0. Okay, since it is of highest priority, it's having highest priority. We can see now that B may be anything. The wire B may be of anything. It may be a strong drive also. Okay, it may be a strong drive, but its strength is only 6. So it, it is not going to have high impact on the wire P. Why? Because there is something which is superior to it. So it is going to produce what that superior wire is giving as the output. Okay. So these are the strengths. We should know the order exactly. Okay. So strong drive, it may be strong 1 or strong 0. These are the default gate and essence output strength. Okay, it's a pull drive. Okay, pull drive is having a strength of 5 only. Pull 1. This is pull 1. You just identify the difference between L and the 1. Okay, you should find the difference between L and 1. Okay, this is pull 0. This is just indicated like PU1 and PU0. Okay, these are the used for gate and assign output strengths. Large capacitor 4, we are indicating as large 1 and large 0. LA1 and LA0. It's for tri registered net capacitor, weak drive. Its strength is 3, and it is weak 1 and weak 0. Okay, W1 and W0. We just recollect these things we have already seen in the VHDL. There we have mentioned strong 0, strong 1, weak 0, weak 1. Okay, these concepts we already mentioned there. Okay, gate and assigning output strength. Okay, medium capacitor. Here is large capacitor, this is a medium capacitor. Okay, this indication. These are the small capacitors. Here it is the high impedance, which is of the least significant one. Okay, high Z1, high Z0, HI1 and HI0 tri-straight line. Okay, so if a strong drive and a pull drive is connected, if the strong, for in the previous example, as I said, P is the final output signal. For that, if I connect for a strong drive, and for B, if I connect a pull drive, which one it is going to give as an output? It is going to give either strong 1 or strong 0 based on the input what we are giving there. So why? Because the value of strong drive is having highest strength when compared with the pull drive. Okay. So in the similar fashion, large capacitors will be having more strength value than the medium capacitor and small capacitors. And but you can see the weak drive is having number 3, it's strength. Okay. So actually we have discussion on these logic values also, but we'll be having detailed discussion in future chapters and okay. So in the next classes we'll see okay, the same table it is here. Now showing its strength levels. Okay, and we have the data types here. Those data types we will be discussing in the next classes. Okay, so most probably within the next class or upcoming classes, we will conclude this unit. Right. After that, we will be going for the gate modelings. Okay. So you can see here any doubts you can have, you can ask. And in the numbers, we have some observations also, right? The thing is, we are using capital letters and small letters. Both represent the same. And we are also using question mark in case of Z and negative numbers, which is representing the 2's complement forms, right? And we have seen how to pad zeros, right? Okay.